reaction is to a jaw-dropping episode of the Steve Wilkos Show titled, "He Put You in the Hospital. Why do you still want him?" And honestly, from the very first sentence, my heart dropped. The guest walks onto that stage not angry, not defensive, but conflicted. You can see it in her eyes. This is someone torn between trauma and attachment, fear and love. As Steve starts asking questions, his tone isn't aggressive yet, it's confused. He keeps coming back to the same point. You were hospitalized. And instead of anger, the guest keeps defending him. That's when you realize this episode isn't just about violence. It's about emotional control and psychological damage. Watching this, I had to pause because it's unsettling. The audience reacts sharply, but she doesn't. She keeps lowering her voice, making excuses, minimizing what happened. And Steve notices it immediately. He leans forward, slows his words, and asks the question that hits like a punch. Why do you still want him? That silence after the question? That's the loudest moment of part one. You can almost see the internal battle happening in real time. Part of her wants to scream. The other part wants to protect him. And Steve isn't yelling. He's trying to wake her up. He tells her, plainly, that love doesn't put someone in a hospital bed. By the end of this first segment, the tension is unbearable. The stage feels heavy. You can tell something explosive is coming, either a hard truth or a heartbreaking excuse. And part two? That's where everything breaks open. Part two takes a darker turn. The moment Steve brings out the evidence, photos, statements, medical details, the mood shifts instantly. You can hear the audience reacting, but she barely looks at the screen. That alone says everything. When people can't face the facts, it's usually because deep down, they already know them. Steve's voice gets firmer now. This isn't confusion anymore. This is concern turning into urgency. He tells her directly that what she's describing is abuse, not love, not a mistake, not a bad night. And still she hesitates. This is the hardest part to watch. She talks about good moments, about promises, about how he says he'll change. And Steve cuts in with one of the most important lines of the entire show. If he really loved you, you wouldn't be sitting here explaining bruises. That hits the audience hard. You can feel it. And you can feel her defenses slowly cracking. Then comes the confrontation. Steve looks straight at her and asks whether she believes she deserves better. Not whether he'll change. Not whether she still loves him, but whether she matters. That question stuns her into silence. The emotional collapse that follows isn't dramatic, it's quiet. And that's what makes it real. Tears, shaking hands, realization setting in far too late. By the end of the episode, nothing feels resolved. But something has shifted. Awareness. Strength. Maybe survival. And Steve once again proves why this show isn't just entertainment. It's a hard wake-up call for people trapped in cycles they don't know how to escape.